Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for the stay.
The one and only Chita Rivera. You know her from all her hats. She's a wonderful actress. She sings, she dances. Your favorite Broadway shows, she originated roles that are part of Broadway history, and past and present. Anita in West Side Story, Velma in Chicago, the title role in Kiss of the Spider Woman. She's been nominated, I don't really know the count, but at least 10 for Tony Award, and she's won Tonys at least 3 times, including Lifetime Achievement. The first Latina and Latino American to get the Kennedy Center honor. The Presidential Medal of Freedom, they're all huge, but that was so impressive.
Yeah, that impressed me. It humbled. Well, all of these awards are humbling anyhow, but that one really shocked me, knocked me between the eyes.
I remember watching that, and it was unbelievable and well-deserved. But, you get so many, but people of great talent are lucky and often get many awards. But to get the Presidential Medal of Freedom is something that has real implications. So that's thrilling.
I thought that surely they made a mistake. Surely they made a mistake, but no, they didn't, and so I'm very grateful.
Well, it's great, and you started out. It's interesting when you think back that your mom enrolled you in a ballet school,
right.
And you're right early on, and then someone from the Balanchine School of American Ballet went to visit, as they do, to look for talent. You were a teenager, and
right.
You were one of 2 picked to audition in New York.
That's exactly right. Louis Johnson, who isn't with us anymore, was the second person that was chosen. And we were taken to New York and auditioned singularly with Mr. Balanchine and won scholarships to the school. So that was the beginning of whatever I am now.
Well, it's really fascinating. But as a teenager or a kid, did you know this is what you wanted?
I knew that I loved what I was doing. I knew that. And I was a person that just was out to have a good time in her life. I love to laugh. I love to skate. I love to bicycle. I love to challenge the guys in the neighborhood. I just wanted, and I love school. So I loved, in general, what I was doing. And I broke up Mother's coffee table and jumping from the sofa to the chair. And she said, that's it, I'm enrolling you in ballet school. I'm going to organize this energy that you've got. And that's what she did.
And
that
it
was the
started working.
Thing. Yeah. She channeled my energy, and that's the best thing a parent can do.
Right. Instead of saying no, be a teacher,
right.
Be a secretary, do something practical.
She
encouraged it, but as long as you went ahead and did it.
That's right. That's exactly right.
But, it's so much that happens in life is a coincidence, an accident, an act of fate. Was that a true story that you went with a pal who was auditioning for Call Me Madam, which then Elaine Stritch was in.
That's right. Well, it absolutely was a true story, is a true story. And Helen, and she asked me to go just to keep her company because she was so nervous. And because I would hang around, she said, "Why don't you take the audition?" And I went, "Oh, yeah." And that would be a good experience. And because I wasn't frightened, because I didn't need the job, talk about chance and destiny, I auditioned right down front, and I wasn't frightened. And I got the job, and Helen didn't.
Mm. And when you think of all the people that you worked with, like Sammy Davis Jr., people like that, he was in Mr. Wonderful, and you kept getting cast in these roles, but was it Anita in West Side Story that you feel is what really was the path to being a Broadway star?
Well, I pulled back on star. What is a star? But at that time, there were many wonderful shows that were being created, and I came around at the perfect time. And it was, Madam was Jerry Robbins. That was the first show that I did with Elaine. And but West Side was the first controversial piece of theater, and as you can see, it's still running. It still has a place in the theater world.
A big place. It was just an anniversary, and
at 65 years.
Hard, right? Hard to believe.
65. Yeah, I don't know where it has gone. It went so fast, So, I just have to say, okay, 65 years. That's it. And take down another mirror.
I know. It is. And what's so amazing is people do try to bring form back, but they just don't resonate. And yet this West Side Story resonates as much as it ever did. It's extraordinary.
Well, thanks to Shakespeare, thanks to Romeo and Juliet. It originally was the story of, it is the story of Romeo and Juliet and two different families that are argumentative. But so as long as we have that problem of one group not understanding another, we will have a West Side Story.
Right. And using all your talents and still bringing joy to everyone. It's one of the things that every time I see it, I feel like I haven't seen it before. And that's what's so amazing. Are you dancing a lot these days, still doing it every day?
Well, not every day. What with what was that terrible thing we just had the
COVID thing.
Yeah, the COVID. That slowed things down, and age has slowed things down. But through the years, I've learned to act and sing, and the moving is sort of secondary now. But it's still good. It's still good.
No, and you've done reviews, and I understand we're going to wait until the book comes out, but Chita memoir is coming out in a year.
That's right. It is. It's coming out. Being released actually on my older brother's birthday, April 25th. And I'm thrilled that it's being released on his birthday, and you can pre-order it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble.
Right.
So
It's great.
And that's been was Patrick Pacheco, who's writing it with me. That's really been an experience to go over your life. It's really it makes you stop and think. Again.
How did you feel when it was done? Did you feel it was almost like going to the best shrink ever?
Yes, it did feel like that. It did feel like that. But Patrick is such a wonderful writer, and he had all the right qualities to write it with me. He had, he's a positive person, and he's very accurate, and he's intellectual, and so we had a good time doing it together.
And when you think about your career, I forget when Call Me Madam, that was like, years ago. You were just a teenager.
That's
when
right.
You got cast in that, which is not easy.
Well, it was the first, as I said, by accident, I got the job. And I called my mother, and I said, what do I do? They just offered me, I think, $250 or something like that.
Pretty good.
And Mother, came up and interviewed some people and put me under the arms of two older people in the show that would act as my chaperones, and she let me go. She let me go. A very wise woman she was,
and very trusting. And she knew she did a good job on her daughter.
Absolutely. But you never know. God, you never know.
And you started dancing. When did you know that you really could sing too, or was that always there? You just didn't do it.
Oh, I just didn't do it. I didn't. I always considered myself a dancer, and once a dancer, always a dancer. And I think I got a little more confidence when Leonard Bernstein said I was okay, and with John Kander allowed me to sing some of his music, and Fred Ebb, his lyrics. I became a little more confident.
For the rest of my conversation with Chita Rivera, go to our original podcast, Let Me Tell You. She has a fascinating story and a fascinating life and is still going strong at 89.
Plan on flying? It's time to upgrade to a Real ID. Because in order to board domestic flights, your driver's license or state-issued ID must be a Real ID, or you'll need another acceptable form of identification. So don't wait. Find out how to get your Real ID at tsa.gov/Real ID. That's tsa.gov/Real ID. Or visit your local DMV. And then you'll be cleared for takeoff.